Hello and welcome back to the channel, guys. It is Rust Belt Collector, and today we're going to talk about two, at least for me, two completely unknown clone trooper variations in the 3 3/4 inch Hasbro Star Wars action figure line. And it's not these two. These two came in the lot that I bought that includes the two variations, but it's not these two guys. This is just left-handed clone trooper guy in his pre-posed position, and a super articulated Phase 1 clone trooper. Both great figures, both excellent additions to the collection, but not the clone troopers in question. If you ever wondered though, those pre-posed clone trooper helmets kind of loosely could fit on the super articulated bodies, which is kind of neat if you needed a clone trooper that was Phase 2 and all you had were these Phase 1. It's loose, but it's cool. It's cool. But neither one of those are the figures that we're going to be talking about today. Today we're going to be talking about variations of these guys right here, and not exactly these guys, but these are the best representations that we currently have in the 3 3/4 inch Star Wars line of Clone Captain Devis and Clone Commander Pons. Now, yes, I did say Clone Captain Devis. I know a lot of people call him Clone Commander Devis just because his gear is just identical to Clone Commander Bly's, but according to Wikipedia, this is Clone Captain Devis, and I do tend to agree with that because, yeah, I mean, he wouldn't be a commander under Clone Commander Bly. I know technically Devis falls within Legends, so it's what it is, you know, it's not exactly something that George Lucas is going to come out and confirm one way or the other, but let's just call him Clone Captain Devis, and that will be maybe a little bit more clear as to why I would say that's the correct name for him. That'll be later in the video. But yeah, these are two really great figures. I like them a lot. This is actually one of the few animated Clone Wars figures that I have in my collection, and it's just one of the best faithful representations of a character, I feel at least, and it's a sweet figure. I really enjoy having it in the collection. However, there are two variations of these figures, or rather a variation of Devis and a variation of Commander Pons, that not very many people know about. And maybe the reason for that is because these are really just repaints and barely a variation of the figures at all. But not many people talk about them, and they were in kind of a less commonly known action figure pack. But anyways, I'm rambling, and we should just talk about the figures themselves. And here they are. And I know, before you say anything, I know everyone's going to be going, no, that's just a clone captain, and that's just a clone commander. They released those separately carded individually as figures back in... I know, I thought the same as well when I first saw these. These aren't just clone captains and clone commanders. These are actually officially, according to the package, Clone Captain Devis and Clone Commander Pons. Now, both of these figures were released in 2013 as Toys R Us exclusives for the Saga Legends line. They came in separate battle packs titled The Battle of Geonosis Jedi Knights, and each one was packed with 3 different Jedi. Pictured here, you can see the figures that were packed with Clone Captain Devis, and for the most part they are unique characters. However, they do use multiple body parts from other Jedi figures made in the past. It is cool, however, that they actually made the figures for these Jedi that we only really see for a few seconds in the Attack of the Clones movie. And it's really a great way to just kind of fill out your ranks of Jedi back in the day, at least, because now these figures are about $80 to $100 per Jedi. The Clone Troopers, however, do go for a little bit less. Pictured here is the multi-pack that came with Clone Commander Pons, and it's actually really cool. Again, multiple Jedi that we never got before or since, and it would be a great way to fill out your Geonosis arena if you ever had that playset, or really just a diorama or a shelf that was themed after the Battle of Geonosis. I do appreciate how we finally actually got the Jedi who face kicks a Geonosian in Attack of the Clones. That's probably the only scene that we see her in, but it is amazing. And once again, these Jedi figures are all just kind of kit bashes of previous figures, and they use a few unique pieces, especially the heads, but the other elements are typically just pulled from other Jedi figures. Now, even with all that, you still might be saying, well, okay, Rust Belt Collector, pump the brakes a little bit there. These figures might have unique names on the packaging, labeling them as Devis and Pons, but they're really not variations, are they? I mean, they look like the Clone Captain and the Clone Commander that we've gotten 100 times before in multiple lines, in multiple repacks, and you'd almost be right. Probably the biggest and most significant variation or difference that we see with these figures compared to their counterparts is actually just right here, and it's It's honestly just the shoulders. For whatever reason, when Hasbro decided to make these figures for the multi-pack, they said, screw it, we're not giving them the right colored little pieces of plastic for the swivel joints, we're just going to make it white, like a normal Phase 1 Clone Trooper. And that's a really weird decision. They've done it before with other figures, but they already had these figures with the colored joints there. And yeah, now part of me wonders if this was maybe a late stage change that they made to the figures. Perhaps originally it was supposed to just be like a standard Phase 1 Clone Trooper packed in, like this guy that we saw at the start of the video. And maybe later on in production they were like, no, let's make them Devis and Pawns, and they slapped some paint on there at the factory, and this is what we got. It could be, and that could explain why those shoulder joints are white and not the respective red and yellow. However, we'll never really know exactly why they did it this way, but we do know that these are now variant figures for the Clone Captain and Clone Commander body molds, or rather paint apps, I should say. Now, apart from that, I did notice two other little things about these figures that I'm not totally sure about, and I wish I had in hand a Clone Captain and a Clone Commander to officially compare them next to each other. However, I don't, and I'm not entirely sure if I can confirm it on screen. But one thing that I did notice is that these appear to be a brighter white and a more glossy white than the standard Clone Trooper. Now, I know this one is a little yellowed here on the crotch piece, but his torso is still the normal color, and I would say that these are a little bit more of a dull white and these are more of a shiny white. So they may have switched plastics somewhere in the production, and that does make it a slight variation, not a major one or a significant one, but still a slight variant. Now, in addition to the body color, I also think that the paint apps are slightly different colored as well. So looking here at the red on his arm, and I'll post up a picture here of what the standard Clone Captain looks like, and you can kind of tell, like, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's just the way the images are online, but I think that red is slightly brighter on the Saga Legends figure here, and it's a little bit darker, more flat, more matte rather, on the older figures. And the same goes for the Commander. I don't know what it is. Maybe this is just a glossier paint and this is more of a matte paint on the older figures, but the colors do seem slightly different, and that, I guess, is a slight variation, maybe again not significant enough for many variant collectors to be interested, but I did find it curious at the very least, and definitely worth noting in this video. And yes, I did notice on Devis here, there are some weird paint apps. It's kind of sloppy, like here on top of the shoulder bells, it kind of flares out, and the crest there you can kind of see has missed paint apps where it's kind of off-centered a little bit, and it's kind of overlapping onto his bicep here as well. So there are some issues, and it kind of reminds me of how just in general multi-pack figures back in the day were typically a little bit cheaper and a little bit more just loosey-goosey when they made them. They would just slap paint on them. Some of them would be a little bit fuzzy, like the 501st ARF Trooper, and the other one, I can't think, Warthog, the clone pilot from the Clone Wars. His paint apps were always really goofy, and so maybe that has something to do with it as well. These are multi-pack figures. But either way, they are variants, and according to the packaging, they are named characters. Clone Captain Devis, Clone Commander Pawns, and yeah, it's kind of cool that we actually got these in figure form, even though we did technically get Clone Commander, Clone Captain Devis. I know on Wikipedia they call him a Clone Captain, and on the box in the Legacy Collection we got him as Clone Commander Devis. And with the Saga figures, the Saga Legends figures, we got him as a captain once again. So it's kind of a weird inconsistency there, but then again, a lot of Star Wars lore hasn't always been perfectly consistent throughout time, and that's okay. It's nice to have these figures, it's nice to have them named, and even if you just don't even consider them as Devis and Pawns, they are cool variations to the Phase 1 officer figures, if you want to call them that. And then I guess finally we'll just talk about the accessories that these guys came with. There isn't really much to say about the accessories, however it's just worth noting that they actually came with Vintage Collection DC-15s, which I think is curious. It was during that era when they were actually making Vintage Collection Clone Troopers, and so I guess it makes sense. But yeah, he came with the DC-15 long and short rifle, and then Commander Pawns here came with a long rifle as well as Commander Gree's little binoculars here. So you could basically just recreate that whole scene where, given the binoculars there, Then you can have his arm pointing out, his head looking down, and he can be talking to Master Yoda like all forward positions are advancing. And yeah, there really isn't anything else to say about these guys. They're just cool little variations that I thought I would showcase in a video all their own because I feel like they are kind of underrated and not really well known in the collecting community. So there you go. If you ever find a clone officer with a white joint there at the shoulder, then it is the variation of Devis or Pons. But anyways, guys, that's where I'm going to wrap up this video, and I hope you liked it. As always, like, comment, subscribe if you like this channel and you want to stick around for more content. And check out the social media link down in my bio. You can go visit Entertainment Earth if you want to pre-order or buy any in-stock figures. Check out my Instagram where I do toy photography. But as always, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.